Hey guys, it's Cory from CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, and I just saw The Lion King. Written by Jeff Nathanson, story by Brenda Chapman, characters by Irene Mecchi, Jonathan Roberts, and Linda Woolverton, and directed by Jon Favreau. So, it's a really long time coming, but I finally got to see a movie at the Alamo Drafthouse. I have been looking forward to this day for 4 years now since I moved to Los Angeles. It is everything it needed to be. I'll tell you this, just to, if you don't mind me getting a little romantic on the idea of the movies, going to the movies here for a minute, but there's an escalator that takes you to the top, and it feels like it's no big deal. But like for whatever reason, you're sort of going through this tunnel, and then you emerge on the other side, and it's Alamo. And there's something very I'm going to the baseball game and I'm coming through the tunnel and then I see the field. And it's just a nice little thing. And like the Alamo Drafthouse experience is incredible. Between the in-seat dining and the no talking and the no phones and the kicking you out if you do anything against the rules. There's a video store inside of the Alamo Drafthouse that has free rentals if you're a member of their club. Just rave reviews all around. I can't wait to start seeing more movies here and telling you about other little things I find. But yeah, it's definitely worth checking out. On to the plot of Lion King. I mean, there's nothing different here from the Lion King that I knew from my childhood and that most people know from their childhood. It's the same exact movie, more or less. It's not. I mean, it's not a new story even for the Lion King. This basic premise has been done before. I mean, Hamlet, for Christ's sakes. But like, to me, the Lion King basically comes down to you being in one of two schools. Either you are trying to show a kid the Lion King for the first time, or you're like a Disney person and you go see every Disney movie, or you're a person who was child when the original Lion King came out and you're trying to sort of duplicate that feeling in modern day. That's one camp of people. Those people are going to go see this movie regardless. Those people have already seen that movie regardless. They've probably seen it a couple times. And then there's the people who are thinking about it more in terms of like the business of movies. And yes, while The Lion King is probably going to make more than any other live action remake that they've made so far, and they've already made a ton of money off of Aladdin and off of Beauty and the Beast and off of blah blah blah. It's just they're spending all their money making these movies because those are the movies that make money in the theaters like this. And how much are you gonna like? There's like the problem is that there's this movie sort of lives within the two boxes. It's aimed to please the people who are in the wheelhouse for seeing it, and then it almost feels like the empty corporatization of it is sticking in the eye of people who are angry about the empty corporatization of it. I mean, it just there's no way to look at this movie and not sort of see it as like the product of a discussion in a boardroom. And at the end of the day, the movie is fine. It's no, I would say it's no better or worse than the original Lion King, but it doesn't feel like it has the same sort of heart as the Lion King. And part of that is just based off of the fact that these are not the same types of animation. The sort of cell-based animation that we used to have on the original Lion King was, artists handcrafting these images and creating it and putting it out there. And then today's is the CGI version where artists are handcrafting every single one of these images. But like it sort of feels like you can't help but see this movie and not think about it in those terms even a little bit. And that's kind of I never got to have the same moment where I had like sort of this, I thought back to my childhood, or this felt like when I was 10 and I saw this, or like anything like that. There felt something very much like Disney has presented you with your latest meal. Like here's the latest thing that Disney is putting out. Go see it. You will. It didn't seem like it came from this place of like it didn't feel like, let me put it this way, it didn't feel like Jon Favreau was like sitting outside Bob Iger's door every night and going like, dude, you gotta let me remake The Lion King. I can't sleep until I do it. It's just like, we can't do that. We can't remake The Lion King. It's too good. It's like, no. I feel like I can do it a little bit differently. Like, you can watch it on the screen. That moment didn't happen. It just doesn't feel like there was like a burning desire of people to make this thing. And it was beautiful, and the like the cinematography was great. Obviously the voices are going to be incredible because all the sound's going to be incredible because everyone's in a soundstage. Like they're all in a studio, like, with a microphone right in front of their face. They don't have to, nobody's actual faces in this thing, so it doesn't matter where the mic is. I like watching people who do amazing work do that amazing work and have the budget entitled to them to be able to do it. So I like it when Caleb Deschanel gets a lot of money to shoot a movie because I feel like he deserves it and he does great work, and his influence on the film is broader than just his name. Like he brings something to film that a lot of other DPs don't do. He's of a very select level, a very high class of DPs. And Jon Favreau is a great director, and I enjoy everything that Jon Favreau does for the most part. And I like where he comes from with these things. And I like that there's incredibly talented CGI artists who are working huge hours to make this movie happen and make it so beautiful and make it so, like, the lions are cute and everything like that. But it just felt like everyone was coming to like it sort of feels like anytime Amazon tries to make it seem like they care about people, like there's a corporate veneer over this thing that just doesn't feel like it's you're allowing artists to do great artistic work, but you're not allowing it to come from an artistic place. I'd rather see Jon Favreau just get a check and say, hey, hire Caleb Deschanel, hire a bunch of CG animation artists and come up with something amazing and bring it back here. Like, that would be the thing I would really be excited about. But, I mean, again, I sort of fell into the second group of people who are, like, more about, like, wanting Disney to spend this money on making new things, but then the people in the first box, the Disney heads, the 30-somethings, the children currently, are all going to see this movie in droves, and it's going to make a lot of money, and there's no reason why Disney wouldn't make that movie. So we're kind of caught in this unusual place. I am really curious what happens when we've remade all these movies, because I mean they're coming at a pretty prolific clip right now. I mean, it used to be these animation movies you would have 2-3 years in between the latest Disney animated release. Now we could have 3 of these in a year. I mean, we already had Aladdin and Lion King within 2 months of one another. So there's no reason that they can't catch up with their animation output at some point. And then what do? Do you remake The Lion King for a third time with new animation that makes it look... I mean, like, at a certain point, you just got to say, like, this is The Lion King we have for a while, and we have to come up with new things. I think that if you spend a little bit of the money that you would on The Lion King, just, like, take out, 1/3, just, like, 1/3 of the catering budget for office staff. Not to minimize my office staff people, but I'm just saying, like, there's excess somewhere in this budget that could have been cut, and then, $1 million could be found their way into, letting somebody do some real artistic approach at something that would make Disney a lot of money too if they gave it a chance. Getting back to the performances and everything like that, I honestly don't remember, other than James Earl Jones, who was in the Lion King animated movie. I think Jonathan Taylor Thomas was young Simba, if I remember correctly. But again, I didn't even look it up. So I mean, none of those names like particularly pop to me without having to look it up. But I thought everyone who was cast in this movie did a very good job of playing the parts. And I love the fact that they brought James Earl Jones back, because to me he's the most perfect voice for Mufasa, and it just, I felt more comforted hearing him in this role and them not recasting him with somebody else. Not that somebody else couldn't do Mufasa if we didn't have James Earl Jones, but I just think that why would you replace the best performance of the original movie? Give him another crack at it. The only one that was really distracting, I guess, was John Oliver, who I like. I like Last Week Tonight. I'm a big fan, and I like his comedy and his style and everything. But there were times where his voice was just too noticeable as John Oliver. And, we're already having lifelike looking animals talking, which is like a big separation from like, your suspension of disbelief is a lot easier to trip when you're doing a cell-based animation because it's not real. But when it looks like a real lion and it's talking and it's got a voice, there's parts of it just throw you off as a viewer. John Oliver is one of the first voices we hear in this movie, and he's flapping in as a bird, and then his beak is moving, and it's John Oliver's voice, and it's not like him trying to do a voice; it's just John Oliver's voice, which is fine. But again, it's not putting me into it as much. I would appreciate, them. It just seems like there was a lot of moments where they didn't go the extra step, and they could have, and I don't know. Seth Rogen, Billy Eichner as Timon and Pumbaa are great. I enjoyed them thoroughly. Obviously, Donald Glover and Beyonce as the grown-up Simba and Nala. Very enjoyable as well. I do appreciate, obviously they had Lion King in the can, right? Way before I did my review for Aladdin. But I do appreciate that Scar in this movie is an actual bad guy and can clearly be seen from 1,000 miles away as this is the bad guy. And they didn't do anything too much different than what they had done in the original cartoon, but they still made him look like less of a cartoon character, like a real lion, but still like he was in the cartoon. And I appreciated that. I think that with some of these kid movies, it's just easier to just hit them over the head with it. Just make it clear this is the bad guy. It's fine. Kids have that binary response to things, and good and bad. And with Jafar in Aladdin, it felt like they got a little bit too far into oh, Jafar is a complicated guy who has different reasons for. It's fine. It's a kids movie. He can be a bad guy. That's just a way it works. And in Scar and Chiwetel Ejiofor's performance, he was a bad guy, and I liked it. I liked that. He hit the right note for that. It's just, everyone did. That's the great thing. You spend enough money, you can get an amazing cast, you can get a director who knows how to helmet, and, it's all there. It's right there on the screen. The images are fantastic, the sound is great, the CGI is best in class. It's just, I kind of wish they were doing something different. I wish they were kind of coming up with their own thing, but, I've already made that point. One last thing in comparing the original to this remake, and really the only thing that kind of stuck in my craw, I sort of wish was done differently, was actually having Elton John in for the Can You Feel the Love Tonight, because I seem to remember pretty clearly that when that movie was when the animated one was done, they just had Elton John singing and the Simba and Nala rolling around and catching up and stuff like that. It wasn't, the characters didn't sing it before, I don't believe, but I still remember that song being in the actual movie, and I kind of missed it. I'd rather hear Elton sing it. If you're gonna do us a solid of having James Earl Jones, you might as well have Elton John as well. I don't know. And then the one last thing is just that while I appreciate how much they tiptoe along the line of how realistic these things can be. It really looked like real lions and real giraffes and real elephants and real warthogs and everything. They're going to have to accept the fact that when you have the things talk, it's just a little bit unnerving. It's a little bit different than an obvious cartoon character. And I don't know what could be done about that, but it was a little bit too much. Maybe if they just never actually moved their mouse, maybe that would work, but that's kind of weird too. So I don't know if there's a great answer for that. Rafiki's gone to the top of Pride Rock to show everyone the leaderboard. This is the first time that I have seen a movie at the Alamo Drafthouse, downtown Los Angeles, Will not be the last to get used to hearing the name of that theater. Onto the movie leaderboard. Again, I mean, so just thinking about if I were a child seeing the original Lion King, what I would give it. And I think at that time, because my palate would have probably been a lot less discerning, I would have probably said like a 9.5 or something like that. And there's a part of me as an adult, or like if I thought about me being a kid and going to see this movie today, like if I was just born in, 2000 or something like that, I'm seeing this movie, or 2010, and I'm seeing this movie, if I would have the same sort of like feeling as I did as a kid. And I think, yes, it translates. I mean, it's the same exact movie, except it's two different styles. Like one's a computer generated one, and one's a clearly animated one, a cellular animated one. But I think I would enjoy them the same if I was a kid. And I know because I went with Rachel, and she's a huge Disney head, and when we walked out of the movie, she said, "This is everything." So if you are one of the people that I talked about in that box, the kids, the Disney heads, the people who are going to see this because you remember The Lion King as a kid and you're going to enjoy it because it's the same exact thing, congratulations, go see this movie. You don't need to actually hear what number I give it, because it really doesn't matter. Go see it. You're going to like it. If you're looking for me to realistically judge this as like a piece of art, it's not that number. It doesn't matter for this review. Like it really, like the people who are interested in seeing this movie have already heard that I said go see it, and that's it. But I mean, like, as far as an actual technical achievement, it's kind of it's incredible but hollow. It's an all-star game. We got a bunch of the best players to play together, and they're going to have a game against more great players, but at the end it doesn't mean anything, so it doesn't really, like, what do you care? In that respect, I would give The Lion King a 7.5. Everyone should go see it if they are one of the previously attributed to boxes, but know that this one did not feel the love the same way that the first one did. It shows, and it's a little bit tough if you go in without your child mind activated. Anyway, that's it for me. If you want more, you can go to my website, CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoryBakerFilm, or at LegendCB5 on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Please give this review a like, share it, subscribe, do all those things, because they all help other people find these reviews. The next one I'm going to see is assuredly going to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I'm probably going to go see it at the Alamo Drafthouse. I do not know exactly when. I'm trying to work out with numerous other people who are interested in seeing that movie where we're going to see it, but on Monday I would expect to see a Once Upon a Time in Hollywood review, so check that out then. Any other movies you want me to see, send it to me on social media, comment below. I respond to every comment, and I look forward to doing so. Anyway, that's it for me. If you don't mind, I have to kill my brother and make my nephew think that it's his fault, and then make him leave for a while, and then I'll become king, and you know how that goes.